Amen. If you will turn your Bibles to Isaiah chapter 40. Isaiah chapter 40. Amen. Isaiah chapter 40. Amen. Isaiah chapter 40. Amen. We're going to look at verse number 28. Amen. We're going to look at verse number 28. And we're going to reference other verses as well throughout the Shabbat presentation. Verse number 20. Word of God says, have you not known? Have you not heard? The everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, neither faints nor is weary. His understanding is unsearchable. Amen. Amen. The grass withered and the flower thereof fadeth away, but the word of our God shall stand forever. Amen. You may be seated at this time. Amen. Amen. In the book of Isaiah, God's prophet, we know that Isaiah is considered one of the major prophets, not because he was more important than any other prophet, but because of the amount of content that God allowed him to share. And we consider him a major prophet. When we look at the prophets of old prophesied what God wanted his people to know. We look at the children of Israel, we know that the children of Israel was God's chosen people, and he used the prophets to share with them those things that he wanted them to hear, he wanted them to know. The amazing thing about God's prophet, really and truthfully, we've got to understand, is that they had to really tell God's people what they needed to hear so that they can have the right mindset toward God, so that they can respond to life and do things God's way. When we look at Isaiah chapter 40, verse number 28, really what he's doing is he's getting all of us, he's getting the children of Israel, he's getting everyone that reads the word, he's getting us to really do a self-reflection. And he's saying this, he says, have you not known and have you not heard? And really truthfully, he just wants our minds to really reflect back on the God that he's talking about. Now here's the thing, really and truthfully, how many of you know we live in a world where people really and truthfully don't give God what he deserves? We live in a world where people don't want to give God his props, give God his credit. But how many of you can testify that if it had not been for the Lord on your side, you don't know where you would be? So you got to understand that Isaiah is trying to get them to understand not to get caught up in idolatry, not to get caught up in the things in that land, not to get caught up in all the idol worship and get all caught up in serving other things. He's trying to get them to understand that, guess what? Don't worship the creation, worship the Creator. And how many of you know that sometimes, just sometimes, if we don't watch it, we'll worship the creation and really truthfully neglect the Creator. That's why, people of God, when you look in the book of, I think it's 1 Timothy, where really Paul is exhorting Timothy, and he's sharing with him, he says, guess what, Timothy? He says, we brought nothing into this world and we will bring nothing out. Well, why did he tell him that? He's telling him that because guess what? Don't get caught up in your bank account. Don't get caught up in the stuff you have. Don't get caught up in the stuff you see. You better realize that, guess what? God gave you all that stuff. And guess what? If you love the Lord, you're going to go back to be with the Lord. Amen. So really and truthfully, he's trying to get them to understand that it's more important to worship the one who made the stuff that they have in their hand. He says, have you not known? Have you not heard? Heard what? The everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth. See, we serve a God, really truthfully, that deserves every bit of praise, every bit of acknowledgement that we can give him on a daily basis. And how many of you know that when we look at God for who he is, really and truthfully, our mindset's going to change about a whole lot of things. How many of you know and understand that, guess what? If you know somebody can do some great things, when you go to them, really and truthfully, how many of you know your confidence level going to be real high? Well, how many of you know all God is saying is this? If you know he created the heavens and the earth, he holds you and me in his hands, guess what? When you go to him, you ought to go to him like he can do what you're asking him to do. Because he is the creator. He says the creator to the ends of the earth. He's the everlasting God. He's everlasting, past, present, and future. There never was a time when God didn't exist. He's the creator to the ends of the earth. He's the everlasting God. Look what it says. He neither faints nor is weary. And how many of you know, and how many of you can testify that there's some moments in the wee hours of the night that really and truthfully, the person you call wasn't home that you normally could call. The person you normally would talk to is sleeping and snoring like something wrong with them. And everybody else, and nobody else is there to talk to. But how many of you can testify like the old church, just a little talk with Jesus will make it all right? God is there. And guess what? When you get up late and everybody else is sleeping, you and God is up at the same time. Understand that, guess what? There's never a time when he doesn't know what's going on. And there's never a time when he is not there. He never faints nor is weary. You see, we look at the world, we look at CNN, we look at Fox News, and we look at all the stuff that's going on, and you know, it troubles our heart. Can I help you? God looks at that and just says, you know what? One of these old days. Just giving them a little bit of time. One of these old days. See, he doesn't get all excited and weary and out of his mind like we do. You know why? Because he's the one who allows things to happen. He's never weary. He's never faint. And he ain't going to wear out like we wear out. We are troubled at times. We get weak sometimes. Sometimes, you know, it feels like, you know what, Pastor? I feel like I can't go on no further. Can I help you? God will give you strength in your weakness, because when you are weak, he'll show you that he is strong. He never faints or is weary, and his understanding is unsearchable. How many of you can say in your life you prayed to God, you've gone to God, and really truthfully when you prayed to God, you had an idea of how things would work out the way you wanted it to work out, and you prayed for some stuff. And you prayed for it, and you prayed for it, and you're like, Lord, work this out, work this out. In your mind, you had something in mind the way it would play out once God would come through for you. How many of you can testify that when God answered your prayer, he did it in a way that you didn't even understand? But you know what he did? He answered your prayer. See, you got to understand, his ways are not our ways. And his thoughts are not our thoughts. And what God does, he shows us from time to time, what he shows us is this, is that it's not for us to sit here and try to figure it out, but it is for us to trust him enough to when we go to him that he can work the things out we're asking him for. He's unsearchable in his understanding. There's a couple of things I want to point out in the text that really helped me when we look at the Creator. The Creator. The Creator. I want you to focus on the Creator. I know there's trouble around you. I know you got issues in your life. I know they got some things going on in your life. I know they got some things that you're worried about. But can I help you? I want all of us to focus on the Creator. Because when you focus on the Creator, you understand he has control over the creation. So anything that's going on at that present moment, God can change. God can control. Why? He's the Creator. All right? Help me out, Pastor. I want to take us to verse number 26. It says this. It says, lift up your eyes on high and see who has created these things, who brings out their host by number. He calls them all by name. By the greatness of his might and the strength of his power, not one is missing. You ever been walking in the nighttime, and even in the daytime, but mostly at night, and you are able to look up at the sky, and you see all those pretty stars in the sky, and you see that moon sitting there just as pretty and bright as it wants to be. When you look at all of that, really and truthfully, God says, I know every one of them stars by name. Can I help us on today? Whether you think so or not, he knows you by name. And see, what we've got to understand is this, is that when you are God's creation and you understand that, and you know that God knows you by name, you've got to understand that, guess what? He knows you. He understands you. He knows what's going on with you. And there's nothing that you do that really and truthfully that's going to blow his mind. Come here, parents. Come here, parents. How many of you can say and confess that really and truthfully, all of your children, you love them all, but you love them all just a little bit differently. But you know them by name. And see, if you're in the Black Baptist church, or if you're just black period, amen, folk don't know you by your real name, they know you by your nickname. And see, there's some names that mom and daddy could call you that really truly you don't let nobody else call you. And see, what you got to understand is God knows you by name. You know why? Because he's going to name you based on how he created you. And he names you based on how he knows you and what he knows about you. I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to just kind of put a pause in it, and I'm going to continue. Parents, quit naming your children names that don't mean nothing. Name your children names, number one, they can spell, and number two, that actually will give them a life of purpose. I'm going to leave that. I'm back. Amen. Praise the Lord. But a parent knows their children by name. And it's amazing how parents name their children based on what they know them for. Do you realize that no matter what you're doing, where you are, where you're going, what you're doing, the decisions you're making that are right, the decisions you're making that are wrong, God knows who you are. And one thing I want you to remember is this, is that if you're praying for God to help you in a certain area, can I help some of y'all? Some of y'all think everything's supposed to get smooth. Let me mess some of y'all up. Sometimes God got to send trouble to give you some stuff that you're asking him for. You know why? Because he knows you by name. Okay, preacher, what you mean? See, sometimes what God does, because he knows us, and he knows us by name, what he's got to do for the person who have trouble, thinking they're getting away with stuff, really and truthfully, he got to shut you down and expose you to get you to be right. Because he knows you by name. Some folk, what he got to do after you done made your grand plan, and I got this all worked out, and this how we going to do this, and this happened, and we going to do that, and if that happened, that's how we going to do it. What he'll do, he'll wreck your plan to make you understand you're not in charge. Why? Because he knows you by name. Why? Because he created you. He knows you. And he knows every move that you make. And you've got to understand that we serve a God that really and truthfully that's in touch with his creation. And we are his creation. And we've got to understand that none of us can get past answering to our maker. Well, preacher, what else you want me to see? In verse number 22, it says this: it is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain, and spreads them out like a tent to dwell in. See, do you realize that all these scientists was trying to figure stuff out, and Isaiah had already told them what the world looked like? Isaiah wasn't no astronomer, but Isaiah did have a kind of, direct connect with the Lord. You see, back in the day, children, you're going to discover that there were explorers who really were trying to prove, and Lord help me, Jesus, they still got people today that make the claim or try to make the claim that the world was flat, but I'm going to leave that where that's at. But Isaiah, he was no astronomer, but he had a direct connect with the Lord. And he says he sits on top or above the circle of the earth. Isaiah had already shown us that the world was round. He had already done it. And there's no proof that any scientist could try to find to try to disprove what God had already done. And you got to understand this one thing, that Isaiah was saying this, is that God created the world, and you know, it's a circle and it's a ball, but guess what? God is able to look down, amen, at that creation, and guess what? See what's going on. And in his sight, we are like grasshoppers.
Amen.
We can't measure up to him. He is the God of heaven. Now, here's the thing. You know, God sees all and he knows all. It's kind of like this. You ever had a child or educator, you ever had a child tell you, man, you must have eyes in the back of the head. How are they able to know that was me? Amen. Let me help some of you children out. The reason they're able to know is you because you do it so doggone much. When you talk, they know it's you. I'm going to leave that with that. Amen. Praise the Lord. But God is able to know what's going on at any given moment and at any given time. And, you know, parents have been, you know, tagged with being, you know, having eyes behind their head and being able to see all and know all. But can I help you? God can't, it's not a matter of just seeing who's in the room and what's in this room. God can see everything that's going on, even as we speak. Way in Canada, way in Egypt, way in China. You got to understand that God knows everything and he's everywhere at the same time. And I thank God for being who he is, because Sister Alice, when I pray, amen, here in Port Barry, somebody else can pray over there in Nigeria, and we praying at the same time, and God can answer us both right then and there. He's all seeing and he's all knowing. And we've got to understand that we serve a God who's bigger than our problems. Well, let me take you to verse number 18. It says, to whom then will you liken God? Or what likeness will you compare him? What it's saying is here. He says, Isaiah saying, who you gonna compare to God? What or who will you compare to God? We got a lot of, you know, sports going on right now, amen. We was in a tournament this week, amen. Super Bowl is going on, so sports going on everywhere right now. Everybody trying to figure out who's going to be in the Super Bowl, who's going to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, this team got this, and this team got that. Yeah, but this team got a running game, but this team got a great defense. This team got an awesome quarterback. This team has been there. They know what to do. They know how to win. And, you know, we'll sit there for days arguing about teams and arguing about sports. But can I help you? God says this. You can sit there and argue about them, but guess what? Every now and again, you ought to talk up for me, because guess what? I'm greater than all that stuff.
Amen.
So when you look at God, you can't compare him to nothing. You can't compare him to nobody. The word is this. The word is holy. Let the church say holy. Holy. God is holy. What does that mean, Pastor? That means he's in a class and a category all by himself. There's nothing you can compare him to. Because so guess what you got to do? When you give him praise, you got to give him a better praise or a different praise than you would give anybody else. I know you love them children. And I know you love when, you know, when they make baskets and when they, you know, do great things in school and when they do all these great things. But can I help you? You ought to shout to the rooftop to the one who saved your sin-sick soul. And you ought to tell the world that guess what? I was a sinner on my way to hell. But God washed my heart. See, that's the kind of praise we ought to give God. You know why? Because it's a different praise. Because guess what? He's beyond anything we can even imagine or think. We can't compare him to nothing. That's why when we come to worship God, can I help you? We ought to come to worship with God on our minds. And if we come to church with God on our minds, can I help you? The natural man should walk in here and try to figure out what in the world going on with them.
Amen.
What's wrong with them? See, you got to understand, it all boils down to what you feel God is worth to you. Amen. That's it. It all boils down to how you feel about the God you say you serve. Can I help? We are creatures of habit. Amen. Be careful. Because we are creatures of habit, we'll get stuck in a routine. And it becomes so routine that really and truthfully is no longer effective. You got to get to a point where there are times when, guess what? You got to lay flat before the Lord. Huh? Lay flat kind of crazy in my house. My children looking at me crazy. My boo looking at me crazy. Get you a room, and guess what? Go in your room. You lay flat before the Lord, and you say, Lord, I'm coming to you right now. Have mercy on me, and Lord, fix my heart. So that I may do it your way. Because can I help you? You got to understand. It comes down to you understanding that you need to get close to God. And you need a relationship with God that is not one that's a hit and miss. It should be one that, guess what, every now and again you wake up in the morning and folk looking at you like, why is she singing? Why is he singing? I woke up this morning with my mind. See, it's a joy. They talked about joy this morning. Can I help you? God to give you a joy, unspeakable joy that other folk can't understand. But you know why? It's when you don't compare God to everything else. I guess I'll go over to church today. I guess I'll mow there on the Bible study today. I guess I'll read my Bible this time. See, you got to realize when you understand that it's something that you should be doing because of the one who created you. Can I help you? It won't be a chore. It'll be a joy. You know why? Because you know that the minute you seek God, God will give you exactly what you need. Now I'm going to help somebody here. I shared what I just shared, but I'm going to help somebody here today. Go ahead and fool around and make a decision that you're going to start doing it right. You're going to start reading your Bible more. You're going to start praying more. You're going to start coming to church more. You're going to start going to Bible study more. You're going to start helping people more. You're going to start witnessing more. Can I help you? I'm going to say it. All hell going to break loose in your life. I had to share that with some of y'all. Because some of y'all not understanding why things breaking loose. Can I help you? Some of y'all can honestly say, let's be real. Husband and wife, you don't argue until Sunday morning. You don't argue until it's time to go to church. You know why? Because you're making an effort in the right direction. And the devil understands that. And you don't want you doing right. Right? But you got to understand that, guess what? You got to realize that, guess what? You're on a battlefield. And you got an enemy, and he don't want you to win. But the real talk, you done already won. You just got to know that. Now I'm going to share this, amen, praise the Lord, and I pray you receive it the way I'm going to share it. But I pray it blesses you. People of God, we have got to understand this one thing. That we can't walk around as Christians like we victims all the time. You serve a God that already won the battle and the war. But there are many times, church people, those who love the Lord, truly love the Lord, those who are Christians, walk around like they're victims. Pastor, that's a little insensitive. No, let me help you. I'm not saying the things in your life are not hard. I'm not saying that there's not going to be some things that's going to come your way that's going to throw you off for a minute. But can I help you on today that guess what? That if you seek the Lord, He'll give you what you need to understand that guess what? Even though it was like that, even though it may be the way it is, I'm on the winning team. All right. Quit walking around like you've been victimized or like, ooh, woe is me. Can I help you? You ought to walk around and guess what? If anybody asks you who I am redeemed. Right? We've got to understand that. We've got to get that in our spirit. And we've got to understand that only comes from a direct connection with the fact that we're walking with God. That only comes when we understand that we serve a God that's on another level. That's where that comes from. We're not going to get that just by saying, I just want things to be right. I just want it to get better. No, can I help some of you? There's some stuff that God going to tell you to do that you're going to have to do. He ain't going to pick up your Bible and put it in your face. He ain't going to make you love your enemy. church. But he'll make you think about it real hard. Right? And you got to understand that guess what? God is on a whole nother level. And when we understand that we can't compare him to nobody else, we serve a God that guess what? That can do exceedingly and abundantly above all that we can even ask or think. Well, Pastor, what else you want to tell me? I want to take you to verse number 14. It says, with whom did he take counsel? And who instructed him? And taught him in the path of justice? Who taught him knowledge? And showed him the way of understanding? Preacher, you got to break that down for me. I will. Now one of us can talk about that we gave God some advice. Now one of us. Now, there was a preacher, amen, praise the Lord. I mentioned this to you before, and I'm going to mention it again because really and truthfully, the Bible says when you see error and falsehood, you got to mark them and avoid them. Now I'm going to a place that really and truthfully folks say, oh, you shouldn't do that. But guess what? You got to read your Bible. And as your pastor, I got to keep you away from stuff that ain't right. That was a preacher, his name is Jesse Duplantis. He literally said the Lord asked him for advice. Oh, the Lord will ask you for advice, and he telling that to people. And I'm like, no, he didn't. Pastor, why you said his name? The Bible says mark them and avoid them. See, I'm going to help some of y'all in here today. Don't get excited because the name is big in this earth. Yeah. You got to test the spirit to see whether it's of God. How you going to do that? You got to know the word. And if what he's doing is not of the word, can I help you? It ain't of God. Right? None of us have given God counsel or advice. That's like a toddler giving mama or daddy some instruction on how to live their life. See, mama, this is what you ought to do. Daddy, this is what you ought to do. Can I help you? That's just like us trying to tell God something. But, you know, I'm very observant. I'm very observant, Sister Lois. And you know what I noticed in the world today, Sister Lois? There are some parents taking instructions from their children. I just want them to have their own mind. I just want them to express themselves. Tell you what, you turn your lip up at me one more time, I'm going to pop you dead in your mouth. Because you've got to understand, we live in a world where really truthfully, there's no authority. And our children are not throwing authority. Really, they're saying, well, if you don't feel like it, you don't have to do it. Say what? Come again and say what? But many of our children are instructing our parents. But can I help you, parents? There's some stuff and some decisions you ought to make for them. And there's some stuff where you ought to say, this how it's going to be, whether you like it or not. Now, when you get your own house, you do whatever you want to do. But as long as you under the roof, and I'm feeding you, and I'm clothing you, and you got a place to stay, and guess what? You're going to do it like this. It shouldn't be the other way around, where because the child feels some kind of way, you bend and you lean in and you move this way because you feel like, well, I just don't want to upset them. Doggone, you be mad as you want. You get over it, but you know the amazing thing, parents, on a real note, you know the amazing thing? Children may not appreciate it at the moment because they don't understand. They ain't supposed to understand everything. We just like them children, y'all. There's some stuff that God does we ain't going to understand at the moment.
Amen.
But when God does what he does and time goes on and he reveals some things, you can get on your knees, Lord, thank you, Jesus. Now I see what you was up to. Because if I'd have done it my way, I'd have messed it up. Right? And sometimes those children will not understand what you're doing at the moment. And guess what? You got to let them know. Guess what? There's some stuff you just got to trust me with. Because I know a little bit. I have a little more wisdom. And some of the wisdom I got is from me making the same mistakes you made. Right? And it's understanding that, guess what, Lord? I need your wisdom to get through this life. Because, Lord, you created everything. You created this world. You even created me. And, Lord, I need your wisdom to navigate and maneuver in this world. Because why? He's the creator. How many of you know that with anything, if somebody makes something, you need to go to them to figure out what to do with the creation? You ever heard of an owner's manual? Right? Some of you got your Bible in your hand, and some of you got the Bible in your phone. I pray it's in there if you don't have it in your hand. Amen. Praise the Lord.
Amen.
And can I help you? That's your owner's manual. Now watch, check me out. On the flip side, the owner's manual is for what you have in your hand. But can I help you? The Bible is the owner's manual. Not you the owner, God the owner. Why? Because he created everything. And can I help you? If you want guidance as to how to make it in this world, as to how God set up what he set up, can I help you? You need to read the instructions. Right? And quit leaning to your own what? Understanding. And if you allow it to, he will literally change your mind. We've got to understand this one thing. Preacher, you didn't give me a subject. I did that on purpose. Because I'm going to tell it to you right now. When Isaiah spoke in verse number 28, he said this. He said, have you not known? Have you not heard? Okay, preacher, help me out. What you need to tell me, you better recognize. You better recognize who God is. You better recognize who woke you up this morning. You better recognize who gave you that job. You better recognize who allowed you to be able to see where you're going. You better recognize who gave you a reasonable portion of health and strength. You better recognize who gave you that house to live in. You better recognize who gave you that vehicle that you drove here in. Amen, praise the Lord. And you didn't have to walk here. Amen, praise the Lord. And amen, well, Pastor, I walk to church. Well, you better recognize who gave you the legs to walk to church. See, you better recognize who died for you on Calvary's cross. Yeah, you better recognize it was Jesus that did what he did for you and not you yourself. Because can I help you? My blood can't save you. Only the precious blood of Jesus the Christ. You better recognize that Jesus Christ, guess what? He died for you, not because he had to, because he wanted to. You better recognize that he rose the third day. And guess what? He got up with all authority in heaven and in earth. You better recognize that, guess what? He kept you in your right mind. You better recognize who gave you those children. You better recognize who gave you all the things that you have. You better recognize who allowed you to get that nice degree with all the letters behind your name. Because one thing God had to show me, that guess what? Even if you get 20 degrees, he'll still show you you don't know as much as you think you know. You better recognize who God is. Well, who is God? He's the creator of all.
Amen.
He's the everlasting God to the ends of the earth.
Amen.
His mind is unsearchable.
Amen.
And get what? He don't have to go to sleep like we do. But Pastor, it said that on the Sabbath day, the Lord rested. He didn't rest because he was tired. He showed you that you needed to rest. And he just rested because he was finished. Can I have some of y'all? All the Lord did on the seventh day was look back at his creation and say, boy, that's good. How y'all say, good? So he just took the seventh day to just lay back and watch his beautiful creation. Because it's just that good. And I'm going to help you, children, and I'm going to take it to my seat. Don't you let them folk tell you came from no monkey. A monkey is a monkey and a human is a human. Well, why are you telling me that? Because they're teaching our children evolution. And they're teaching our children that, guess what? There's no creator. Bam! There it was. Big bang. Amen. Right? Don't you let nobody tell you came from no monkey. God created every last living being after its own kind. Amen. Now, I'm going to tell you, a dog, way back in the cut, may look a little different now, but a dog is a dog is a dog. Amen. A horse may look a little bit different than it looked back then, but a horse is a horse is a horse. Amen. Right? So you got to understand that really and truthfully, that guess what? All these millions of years and all this stuff they try to tell you, can I help you? You better know that God created the heavens and the earth. And he created it all in 6 days, and on the seventh day he rested. And that's literal days. Literally 7 days is all it took him to make everything you see right now. And can I help you every now and again? That's what I want you to do. When you get time, turn the phone off. Turn the TV off. Turn the game off. Children, you too. Go sit on the porch and just look. And just listen. Just look. And just listen. And just look. And just listen. In fact, you know, I get text a lot, you know what I'm saying? I gotta stay, people gotta keep in touch with me and did that. Turn the phone off. Turn the TV off. Turn the game off. Amen. Matter of fact, every night again, get away from your boo. And get away from them children. But Pastor, wait a minute, I got ice in it. Every night again, you got it. Steal away. Y'all, that's biblical. That's biblical. Just don't stay too long. Amen. Praise the Lord. And just look. And listen. And just look. And listen. And I promise you, God will reveal himself to you right there. Pastor, why you want me to look and listen? I'm so glad you asked. Have you not known? And have you not heard? But I want you to look and listen. And let God speak to you. And get in touch with the Creator. By understanding He created what you're looking at. And He created you and I the way He did. So strategically. And the minute you start beating yourself up, and other folks start beating you up, and when I say beating you up, I'm talking about you, insulting you, and telling you all this stuff. All I want you to do is tell yourself, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Well, Pastor, how can you say that? Because of the one who created you. I want you to turn to your neighbor and tell him these words. Now, give him a real big pretty smile, amen. Amen. You're not too mean, amen. And I want you to tell them these words. Neighbor. Neighbor. Oh, neighbor. Oh, neighbor. The preacher. Tried to tell you. You better recognize who created the heavens and the earth. Amen. Praise God. Amen. Give God some praise. Amen. 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 Amen.